Jake, Jake. Hey everyone, this is Christopher Shaw with the Business Minds. Welcome to the broadcast. We have our very special guest. He's a member of the Business Minds on. His name is Jacob McGhee, and he is the CEO founder of His Grace Productions. We have a great show. We're just going to get to know him a little bit, get to know the Business Minds, and kind of show you guys how what's the importance of being a businessman? What's the importance of joining our online campus? I'm ready to get started. Jake is just taking some time in here, and what I'll do is take some time to kind of show you through the platform a little bit. All righty, Roger. I'm down here, downtown Dallas, my beautiful city. And when you see the platform, it's pretty self-explanatory. We have a wonderful, wonderful UI, wonderful way for us to interact with one another as business minds, thought leaders. This is kind of our platform. It's an online campus dedicated straight for entrepreneurship. And this is actually a video right here that Jake actually shared with the community last week. And it is, because he did wonderful work and he just wanted some constructive feedback, just what we thought, what our first impressions were. And this is the kind of things that we do within the Business Minds. I'll see as soon as he's ready to come on, I'll put him on and then we can get to know him a little better. But yeah, this is his video. I wanted to show kind of his work before he even gets on, so you can kind of see. I see that he's getting ready. But what I'll do is I'll bring him on right now. There he is, Mr.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
That's good. We're doing good. We saw you back there, taking care of your son.
Yeah.
We're good. We understand. We're entrepreneurs. We understand, especially you're married, entrepreneurship, and have children. I know how hard that is. And so we show grace over here.
I appreciate
it. We believe. We know how it is. But I was just about to kind of get to show everyone your video. But before we do that, why don't you introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are and what you do exactly. What problem do you solve?
Yeah, sure. Well, my name is Jake McGhee. My company is called His Grace Productions. And what we do is we create cinematic style video stories for businesses to connect emotionally with their customers, because we found that when you create that emotional connection with your customers, that's actually what creates a buying relationship. So our videos, like we've really done the research to figure out like what type of video creates the best ROI. And so that's where we put all of our energy.
Okay. So it's not just, and these type of videos that your company produces, these aren't just videos that, that are simple productions that somebody can do with their phone. We're talking about full cinematic storytelling, right?
Yeah. It's definitely a different feel compared to, a lot of videos that you see out there. But I mean, when we talk to a lot of our clients and stuff, and we kind of explain the differences, there's a lot of different videos out there, and they all have a place, and the way we break it up is kind of, informational type videos versus emotional, impactful kind of videos. And so, in the life of a client, right, there's different times that you need different tools. And so a more of an informational type video, which is what you'll see a lot of in terms of, if you're scrolling through Facebook or LinkedIn and you see a lot of talking heads or, more interview based type of videos. Yeah. It's you see a lot of that because they're really easy and it's a lot of information. So like if we were doing like this, for instance, it's like, oh, I'm talking about my business. I may tell a story about my business, something like that, but it's just really me talking about myself. Which, what we found is like those informational pieces are really valuable, but it's not what's making people buy. It's usually a justification piece. So people will look for justification for why they made a purchase, but it's actually not what's making them buy in the first place. So it's good to have those, on the back end, but on the front end, people are actually going to decide that they're going to buy from you on a subconscious level. And that's really what we try to attack.
Okay, I love how you explain that. That's kind of how selling and buying kind of works too, touch to an emotional level as well. Pulling on some strings that may not even be conscious to them at that time when they're connecting and watching the video. So okay, that's cool. Yeah, you guys, your work is beyond amazing, Jake. I mean, seriously. I actually want to go a step further and actually show everybody, kind of what exactly your work is. This is the video, if I may, this is the video that you shared with the community with us, and we gave some good feedback. All of it was positive because you knocked it out the park. And I wanted to take some time just to show our viewers, show everybody, this your work. Let's go ahead and play it, and this speaks louder than anything we could possibly say. Oh, I thought I pushed play.
It takes a lot to run a company, and the bigger the company, the bigger the problems. Things that start off simple find a way of getting messy. And it feels like there's never enough time. Few people get it. And it's not something that's easy to explain. You can't learn it in the classroom. It took a lot to get here. And there's a lot at stake.
I love that.
We know because we've been there. We know where you want to go. And best of all, we know how to get there. We are the Hedgeway Group. We're in your corner.
That was, like I said, that was wonderful. The way you captured the story and you told it within a certain amount of time as well, too. I mean, we couldn't tell that video apart from a huge $1 million, budget, So, and it didn't cost $1 million, did it?
No, and that's the cool thing about these type of videos. We've when you can really do a lot of the work up front and and really kind of think about the specific business and like, for instance, this business, what their specific customer looked like and needed and what their story was. You can jam a lot more impact into a really small amount of time or a smaller budget. And in our industry, when you're bringing on actors and you're bringing on all these different things, the prices obviously creep up. And in our industry, videos like this start at about $100,000, and then they work their way up. But this type of video we're able to produce for starting around 15,000, because of just the system that we've created in terms of kind of compressing everything in like a smaller schedule, and also like where we film as well, because where we film, it's not as expensive as trying to film it, in LA or New York or something.
Yeah, man, like I said, that was really great work. Do you sit down with your clients and really figure out where they're headed and what the vision of what they see in their business and alongside what their clients are expecting from their business as well? Or what can you kind of walk us through that process so that people can understand, when they contact you, what can they expect as far as getting the type of video work like that?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's a great segue. I'd say that, with our process, like I said, we're really about creating these emotional connections, and that takes a lot of understanding of their client, and so we have like an onboarding process where we get to know the business, we get to know their target market, and even if they don't have some of these questions dialed in, which a lot of them do, then we have ways of helping them kind of figure out what this story looks like. And a pitfall that a lot of us fall into as business owners is, and in general in the human race, it's easy to talk about ourselves. It's easy to just say, hey, this is who I am, and just go on and on and on. What's hard is to flip the script a little bit and to start talking about your customer from their perspective. And that's really what's interesting, because whenever you watch a film or you watch any kind of story, the first thing we do is we put ourselves in the in the shoes of the hero, in the shoes of the protagonist, whoever is like, if it's exactly, if it's Indiana Jones, we're trying to be Indiana Jones. What would we do in this situation? And the problem is, if you're a business owner and you're talking about your business, and your customer, if it's not a B2B kind of thing, it's really hard for them to relate, to what you're talking about. And so you end up losing your audience. And in today's climate, with just everything that's on social media, and in the world in general, it's really hard to get people's attention. So if that's something you miss from the beginning, and you're making it hard for people to relate from the start, you're not going to catch back up.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a great explanation. That shows that you really know what you're talking about. Aside from doing your work, what type of clients do you work with? Can you work with all range of clients, or do you have a certain niche you want to work with? Or
yeah. Another great question. So, in terms of this kind of storytelling, I feel like, what helps the brands that this helps the most are brands that are really looking to kind of stand out in their market, because most companies are not going this route. Most companies are going to do like the standard kind of informational piece, like we talked about. And which I said, like I said, it's not bad. It's just, it's not going to set you apart. So it's really for businesses that are kind of at that stage where they're like, okay, I really need to stand out from my competition. I really need, to do a hard push into marketing. And this is like, this is kind of like pulling out, like almost like not to be cliche, but like a secret weapon, right? Because, if you're looking to market and, you really want a return on your investment, and that's a problem with, a lot of marketing systems, is like, there's things that are going to get you further down the road. And it's hard to measure that a lot of times. And I think that's one of the biggest complaints I run into with video is, how do I determine my return? And, with this, it's interesting because we've changed the video to really target one specific market. So this is a very strategic video and a specific emotion. We're not just going after any emotion or all emotions. We're going after the biggest pain point that the customer has. So, just like, and brands, like large brands do this all the time. Think about like Coca-Cola, Pampers, these larger brands have been doing this for decades. But so anyway, all that to be said, this is a really good tool if you're ready to kind of pivot out of kind of the status quo and really kind of establish a dominance in your market.
Yeah, and the quality alone helps you stand out as well as too, because a lot of people nowadays they do have a camera and they hire someone who has minimum experience and really just kind of guides them along. You're talking about pushing their video and pushing their business in a certain direction versus it's the difference between just versus I know where I'm going, and this should help me connect with my ideal client on a whole nother level than I have before. Correct?
Yeah, that's a really good way to phrase it. And like I said, a lot of people are not necessarily going after an emotional connection, because if you tell a business owner, hey, you need to create an emotional connection with your customers, they'll be like, why? That seems touchy-feely. But the science behind it. So there's a Harvard professor. His name is Gerald Zaltman. He's done a lot of research in terms of like buying decisions and what's happening there. And a lot of it is according to his studies, 95% done in the subconscious. So he even his studies are saying that like whatever people are speaking to you is actually not even what they're thinking a lot of the time. So
Oh, wow.
we really, it's tough. Yeah, it's crazy, right? So
yeah,
it is, and it's this subconscious branding. He's done a lot of work for Coca-Cola as well, but it's the subconscious work that is creating this link to your customers that's creating a buying relationship, and not just creating another just informational piece where you're trying to just compete with deals. You see this in car dealerships all the time, right? We've got 0 for 72, and we've got the new 19s that are whatever on discount, and all they're doing is constantly going after the next deal, and there is no loyalty in terms of those things. So your brand loyalty is really gone. It's just, okay, well, if all you're going to tell me is what deal you have, then I'm just going to look for the best deal. And so it doesn't really matter who you are or where your business is. I'm just going to find the best thing, which, and that's a market, right? But
that's their particular market. Yeah, that's kind of how they kind of do it. You hit some really interesting points too, as far as a psychological essence of marketing and people buy, because I was talking to my wife and I was looking around and I was like, babe, that almost anything that you buy or that you want to make some type of purchase, you didn't entirely make that up to buy that yourself. There's companies that are getting paid millions of dollars to make up our mind for us. There's people that are sitting around right now and just looking at our buyer personas and just really trying to figure out what type of patterns are people going to make, because that's the type of human nature as far as the patterns we live, the bubbles we live in, and those things give away a lot about us as far from a marketing standpoint and from a selling, buying standpoint. In some stores, like they even go as far as the colors in their store. People think that that's just the colors they pick. No, a lot of people put some research into have those particular colors even at those certain times. And it's really interesting to hear someone like you from a videographer, cinematographer standpoint. Sorry, didn't mean to demean your position.
Oh man, you're good.
Talk about a psychological connection from a video standpoint. I mean, that in itself should tell people that when they work with you, you're going on a whole nother level that sometimes their marketing isn't, they're not even thinking about. Like you said, people tell you, why do I need a psychological connection? I mean, I could tell you off top, if I saw that commercial that you made, maybe like 4 years ago, I was like, wow, that's me. You're up and running. You made it this far. And so you have some sort of confidence. Like he said, he had employees, he had a house already, he had some cash flow coming in. So you're feeling kind of good, but then more problems, new problems, frustration comes up, and it's like, okay. And then also that's kind of having to bite your pride too. I like how you put that in there, because the bite your pride hits you when you saw your family. Now it's like that fork in the road. I'm frustrated. I want to, nothing's going right. Do I give up? And then you look at them like, no, I can't, but I do need help. And, that all that I got from this business, this commercial, and I related to it so much. That's like the entrepreneur to the T. And I really, really capture that. I mean, I can't say that enough. When we watched it around our office, we just identified with so many little pain points. Man. And like it or not, that's what we need to attack sometime, or those pain points. Matter of fact, most of the time, because as an entrepreneur, what are we doing? We're solving a problem anyway, but you got to identify the problem first before you can solve it. And sometimes, like you said, the client doesn't even know what their problem is. Not to say that know what their particular problem is within their business, not like their personal problem, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, that take it off, man. And I didn't mean to go on a tangent about the video, but I just really wanted to show people the work. A lot of people,
I appreciate it.
a lot of people get on here and, they can talk a lot, and whenever we have somebody who can show off some really great work, I definitely want to promote that, Jake.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what'd you say?
Oh, I said I really appreciate it. And what you were saying though is really interesting, in terms of the psychology piece of it, because, a lot of, I think it's Story Brand, the book Story Brand talks about, about the kind of the internal needs, right? Like just the survival needs and these different things. And if your business is meeting, some of these like very base needs, but what's really cool about like story in general is that that's how we've communicated since the dawn of time, is through story. And, and like, I'm a Christian, and, and all through scripture, you see all these parables, and like Jesus chose to speak through these parables, and you're like, well, why? You could have just like laid it out there. But there's something that happens, and like what you were talking about, it just happens at an internal level, a deeper level. And so when you can tell a story, so like, I'd love to take credit, Chris, to like all the little emotions and stuff that you felt, like I crafted. But the cool part is I didn't. Like I only put, I put things from my perspective in there that I could, but the rest is human nature. Like we're able to take the story, apply it to ourselves like you did. You put yourself in that position and you made it work for you, and it was able to do something for you that it would do something different for somebody else. And that in itself is really the power of telling story and letting people run with it and then attach themselves to your brand. That's what we're trying to do.
You're building a deeper connection. And like you said about the car dealership, if we're just competing on lowest price, you're not going to have much brand loyalty, right? Because you will always lose. There's always going to be somebody cheaper than you. I mean, that's we had to learn that. We learned that very early on. You're going to be overworked and underpaid trying to compete with price. And so, yes, you're exactly right to take it to a whole nother level psychologically and emotionally. So, and you, that's what I say. Do you have, and how big is your team?
So on our specific project, depending on the project, we kind of build it out dependent on that specific project. So what you all saw there, we had a crew that was, let's see, about four people, and then not including the actors. So so behind the scenes, there's four of us that are all setting up lights and all the fun stuff that's behind the scenes. And so really, in terms of manpower, it doesn't necessarily take a lot. Now, if you're on like a huge Hollywood set and you've got just massive amounts of film and junk that you're dealing with, then you need some extra hands to help handle that. But and especially in the season that we're in with COVID and everything else, we're able to find a sweet spot of, again, staying minimalistic, but still, achieving like the most impact that we can, so to keep people safe, to make sure everybody's comfortable. But yeah, it doesn't, like I said, we've kind of hacked the process in terms of, what guys are charging $100,000 and plus to $1 million for in one production. We've kind of been able to hack the system in terms of, hey, here are the people that we really do need, and here's the equipment that we really do need, and then in order to pull off the specific look, this is all we need. And so, on the front end, we do a lot of work, which is, all those scenes that you saw, we basically went in and, we decided, hey, this is the time of day that we need to shoot, this kitchen scene. This is the time of day that we need to shoot all these other scenes. And we just made sure that we were there and that we had, 30 minutes to an hour to set up lights. Then we bring in the actors, then we're in and out within, a couple hours of each location. Which, I know it's hard to relate in terms of, this kind of stuff in terms of what it looks like behind set, but most of these sets, you're looking at days and multiple like locations, multiple cities, driving all over the place. And that's just part of the things that we've kind of learned how to simplify.
Well, Actually, I don't think it is hard to relate, because what you're saying basically is you created a system that allowed you to keep your costs down, which is your time, and that in return allowed you to charge a more affordable price to the client, because the system in itself is the money making process. Because the faster you get done with the production, the faster you can get onto another client. So if you know, from an entrepreneur standpoint, entrepreneurs can learn that from you, because every business, every company needs some type of system to where they have a client flow, and that client flow you can pass those savings on to your client, especially when you get it down packed. So that's all I was thinking about when you were saying that, and that's from an entrepreneur mindset. That is really good that you would share that system with us, and I hope that the people that are paying or watching understand how valuable that information that you get. This is you're a real entrepreneur making real moves, and you're really telling how you're getting it done to not only save you and your company money, but also pass that on to the client. Like you said, this is 100,000 plus production on most companies, and you've got it down to about 15,000 just by thinking ahead and forming some type of system to where it could flow. So that in itself, I hope that people are paying attention. That was a gem. That was a real gem from a real entrepreneur. And that's kind of what we want to give off on this show. Now I do want to get into your why just a little bit.
Sure.
Because I know we all that information was great. I want to get into you and your why just a little bit, before we wrap things up. Why His Grace Production? Why did you feel a need? Where did that need come from? Where did that fire come from to get it all up and going?
Man, I appreciate it. That was a great question. Yeah, it's interesting. Like my background, like I went to school for electrical computer engineering.
Oh wow!
And I did. I went to the Air Force after school, and that's what I did in the military. Was I was a test engineer for the Air Force, and I was active duty for 4 years, and that's all I did. I became just wrapped my mind around that forever. But yeah, it's crazy. But after my first deployment, I was really I was praying a lot. My wife and I were both praying, and we were just kind of trying to figure out, next steps. Is it, pursue a military career? And if that was the case, then I'd have to go to, grad school and get a master's and all this stuff in engineering.
Oh,
yeah. And it wasn't like the most exciting thing, but at the same time, it's like, I'm submitted to the Lord, right? So if that's the path, then that's the path. And I've always loved filmmaking. I've always had it in the back of my mind, but I always shelved it. I just thought it wasn't, part of my thing. But when I was coming back from the military, or from my deployment, excuse me, I was ranked number 1 in my squadron. Everything was like set. Everyone was saying, you're a shoo-in for grad school. This is no big deal. This is your next base.
Next step. Yeah.
Oh man. And my wife was looking for houses at our next base, all this stuff. It was crazy. But then they lost my paperwork to go to the next thing. And it never happens. I mean, that's, everybody, it never happens. This never happens. And so it just took a pause, and it was like, Lord, what are you really doing here? And we felt like
he threw it away. God threw your paperwork away.
Oh, totally. I mean, and he stopped us dead in our tracks, and he's like, hey, I'm giving you a choice. You can stay in the military and go this route, or you can do what I'm calling you to do, which is crazy adventure, and it's going to be in filmmaking, and this is what I've made you to do, but you can choose. And if you go this direction, if you go to the military route, it kind of like brought it back to like the Israelites wandering in the desert for 40 years, and being too afraid to jump into the land. Or you can go this way, and I'm going to take you through it. I'll guide you, and I'll get you through this. And so we, my wife and I heard the same thing, and we brought some friends in, and really sought some wise counsel. It was such a huge decision. We decided to get out and pursue the filmmaker route, and to create, stories for businesses. And we didn't come out the gate with this concept. It's been a long road to get here, and to find, really what helps businesses the most. I mean, what's the most impactful, best ROI kind of product that we can give? And that's been a really long journey. But, and it's been a crazy adventure, and it's been really painful at times. But the thing is, like, we know that's what the Lord called us to do, and He's been faithful every step of the way. I mean, it's been insane. So His Grace Productions comes from like the name that He gave us for this company. It's all by His grace. And a lot of people get this confused, like this term grace confused with like just just undeserved merit, right? Like just, oh, he's good, but he doesn't really deserve it, so it's just nice. But really, there's another piece to grace. It's power, right? And it's God's just power on something. And so a grace to do things. And so what we want the business to do is to provide grace to other businesses, like a power on them to do the next thing, to really get past where they are and to achieve something that would have been impossible by themselves. And that's the ethos of our company.
Oh, wow, man, that's powerful. I absolutely love when people have a mission and a vision behind why they name their company certain things, why they do certain things within their company that makes them different. Because when you have stuff like that, when you've thought about it, when you have these certain things that, like you say, give you power, because when the times get hard, that's what you lean on. Right. That is from an entrepreneur perspective. Those are the things that you lean on. Like, why did I really get into this? You got to remember it, because I mean, the devil is the father of lies and confusion. He's going to try to confuse you and get you off your path, but you have to remember, oh, this is why I started. And so, yeah, I really wanted to know about your name and why you got started, and that is a very interesting path. Very interesting. And for how good you are at it, I mean, I would have never thought, we would have thought people in whoever seen your video would have thought your work, sorry, not just you've done lots of work, sorry, not just that video.
No, you're good.
But who's ever seen your work would be like, man, this guy's been doing this since he was, 6. Him and his crew should been doing this forever. And for you not to be doing it, man, this is really good. How can people get in touch with you? I know you're a part of the Business Minds, our online community, but how can people outside of that get in touch with you, work with you, get a consultation? How can we?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if we can share links in here, but
here, I'll post it. I can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so there's a couple ways. Like right now, we're actually in a phase where we're offering the first part of our production process for free. So it's a free strategy call, and we kind of walk you through what a pre-production process would be, which is, really understanding your customer, what that story would look like, actually helping you flesh it out from the beginning and giving you enough information to really get started and kind of run down the road with that. So I have a link to our calendar. You can sign up for a consultation with either myself or one of our team members to kind of walk you through that. And otherwise, you can just go to hisgraceproductions.com. And there's a contact page or contact link at the top. You can just shoot us an email. My personal email is just jake@hisgraceproductions.com. So feel free to shoot me an email or find us online. But I'd love to talk to y'all. And again, and sometimes this can be confusing for businesses because they're like, well, it's His Grace Productions. Does he only work with Christian businesses? Is this a thing? No, not at all. And that's not a thing. Like we're here to serve businesses. We're here to serve people because honestly, like I had no understanding of entrepreneurship before I started, got out of the military, and it's just been, I have such a huge respect, for this community and for entrepreneurs in general, and they're really the lifeblood of our country in a lot of ways. People taking risks every day and just really trying to just to better the world. So I really respect that. So yeah, we just want to serve business as well, and if if this seems like something that would fit for your company, if this is, this kind of jives with your brand, we'd love to, help you out and talk a little bit more about what that looked like.
Well, and at the very least, you can sit down and get a consultation and just see where you're at in that process, because this could be something valuable that they could take back to their team, or if it's a solo entrepreneur, they can take back to their office and just really, okay, this is where I'm at. He really gave me some insight, because this is more than just video. Like you said, you're gonna actually sit down there with them and kind of figure out their ideal client, which a lot of entrepreneurs don't do anyway. And they should. Yeah. So this could people go to your website and then also sign up for that? Is there a link website to go straight to the landing page?
Yeah. So as you go to the homepage, there's a link for like a case study, and if you go to that case study and give us your email, there'll be a link for to sign up to schedule a call with us, so you can kind of get through it that way. And I can also give you the link that's straight to our calendar, so you can just get right on our calendar. But one thing you brought up that I think is really good is, like in this time, and kind of people are kind of on the fence in terms of like, is this the right thing or not? We have an option as well to where we will create, it's a digital binder, and it's our pre-production binder. And what it is basically a roadmap, and everything's spelled out in terms of, your script, a treatment, mood boards, storyboards, what crew you need, the gear that we would use, basically every little detail that you would need to hand over to any production company anytime down the road. And they'll be able to take that and create, what we've created together, like that vision. So, if that's something you were a little bit on the fence with, you wanted to kind of wait and, maybe execute something down the road, we have that option as well, to create this digital binder to where you can take that to any production company in this sphere and be able to knock that out.
Oh, wow. That's good. And I know our companies are looking to collaborate on that kind of consultation, to where after they go to you get your video, we're going to give them a step-by-step guide on how to kind of market that video and really get that video out there to the right people. And that's just a piggyback. I mean, me and Jake, before we go, just a quick rundown of how we met. Right? Yeah. When I had my first office in North Dallas, I had my partner there. Well, my partner, Big Anthony, and he said, "Hey, some guy came from you." I was like, "What?" Some guy came for me, and then I wasn't there, and then I think I called you or something. You said, "Hey, I'll be back tomorrow," and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna come back tomorrow." And Lord willing, Jake had came from Waco all the way up here to Dallas, looking for the best marketing companies to partner with. Right? I mean, I'm not even making this up.
No.
And you had Googled us, you found us. You came there and you just showed up at our office. And, I was thinking to myself, I like to get behind people that do stuff first, for themselves. You know what I'm saying? That put that, you're just like you said, you didn't know entrepreneurship, but you knew, like Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, he said, look at the birds. They don't never worry about what they're going to eat. But those birds also know that if they sit in that nest, they're not going to eat. Right? They don't know where the worms are, but they know they got to get out of that nest, right? And that's kind of what I was thinking about you. You came all the way up here to Dallas, and Googled us, didn't know what to expect, just showed up at the office. I mean, I don't know, maybe you called ahead or something, but even if you did it, but I was like, man, I can get behind this. And we just started talking and getting, and getting behind, a partnership, seeing how we can help each other out. And that's how it works. And that's kind of, with lack of a better word, I was working on the business minds and as the community, and that's the vision behind it. Let's just get out there, share ideas, share and learn and grow business together, form partnerships, and really get out here and just help each other build these businesses, because it's hard. And we have courses and action guides, but like I was telling the team the other day, I believe that one of the biggest benefits that people are going to eventually see is the community of where you can put your like you posted your video and got some great, feedback from real world entrepreneurs. There was no negativity because we're all pushing towards something, and we don't want negativity, so we're not going to give it out,
Right.
And this is all hard enough without negativity anyway. I mean, we don't need anything else. And I just wanted to tell that story, man. You came out of nowhere. You came out of nowhere. You even said you were going to come back the next day. I don't know if you drove to Waco and back, but you did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. You drove to Waco and came back up here. And I was just like, man, this dude here, and I really admired that. I mean, people would think that we've known each other forever, but it's been a year and a half or something like that. But that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty inspirational to me too. And I've been an entrepreneur for a while, so I just wanted to put that out there, how we met and everything.
Yeah. Let me plug your stuff real quick too, because
plug me.
The thing is, like, I've kind of been all over the gambit over the past 6 years in terms of entrepreneurship and figuring this whole thing out. Like I said, engineer trying to figure out the business world. It's not an easy thing. But one thing I did find was, when it did come time to invest in the business and buy certain things, for us filmmakers, our mind immediately goes to the next piece of gear. The biggest camera, the biggest lights, all that stuff, all the cool junk. But the best ROI for anything I've ever put my money into has been in this kind of relationship with other entrepreneurs, with business coaches, with just investing in myself instead of just buying gear or anything like that. So I think that's one of the best lessons I've learned is, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to figure, you need help or you need a community or, anything like that, things like this will give you the best return, hands down, in terms of constantly investing, way more than the next tool or whatever that you wish you'd had. Because those things, they don't. There's not like a huge ROI. You can spend $100,000 on a camera and you're not going to turn around and get a $100,000 job. It's just not how it works. So, but with this, with this kind of community, the right relationship, the right tweak to your business from somebody who's already been there. Those are the things that really change your business, and you make a smaller investment, and you have something that you can actually be proud of.
Yes, I totally agree. And to piggyback on, we'll close out you talk about the new and latest gadget or whatever. There's always going to be that. You know what I'm saying? But the way business is done and the foundation that you build has been here since business. Those are something that's a skip you can't. That's a step you can't skip. Excuse me. And people try their hardest to do it. But you have to realize there's always going to be something new gadget, new camera, new whatever. You have to hold on and build that foundation, and that's what the business minds is meant to be. It's a community. Online campus built to help people build a solid foundation for their business. Then you take that whichever way it goes. So, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and that's truth coming from an entrepreneur. Jake, man, we had a great time. Your work, your the psychological mindset that you put in your videos. I mean, it shows. We hope to have you back on the show. Of course, we're going to be interviewing all our members, and I mean, we're gonna push you, get behind you, and really, this is what it's all about, man. I appreciate you being on here, and I'm looking forward to what the future brings, not only for you but for our friendship and our partnership. This is what it's all about, man. So thank you.
Thanks,
thank
Chris.
you for coming on, man.
Yes,
now everybody, oh yes, thank you. I actually was commenting too on the people that were commenting on Facebook and YouTube, and I added your website, and we added your email address, so you should be getting contact with some people pretty soon. But yes, I want to thank everybody who is on the video. I mean, on this interview, on this show, on the broadcast. And we just thank you guys. Tune in. Always, you can come and join the community. Check it out for free for 3 days at thebusinessminds.com. And after that, it's only $49.99. You can't beat that as far as an investment. So you can chit chat with me and Jake and just ask questions. We have a lot of other members from different fields that are here to help you. And like I said, we have one goal in mind: to learn and grow business together. Thank you. This has been another episode of the Business Mind broadcast. Thanks, guys. Good night. Good night, Jake.
Good night, Chris.